Hey everyone, what's up? It's Jacqueline. I wanted to talk about something that is quite sensitive in the trans community today. I haven't made a video and an update in a while. Some of you know I opened up my own business. I opened up a salon. It's been a great success. It's wonderful. You can check it out on my Instagram, Bauer Hair Parlor. It's been really great. So busy, financially wonderful. It was incredibly stressful getting everything done, leaving a toxic previous environment and setting everything up and trying to live my life at the same time. And opening up a business is not easy, especially when you're working full time. And so it was a lot. So that's why I've been. See, I just got off work and I'm exhausted. So that's why I have been missing in action. I've been working my ass off. I think for almost 2 months now. Uh, well, the past month of straight working since April 1st. I took my first lunch break like 2 days ago, and I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like, oh my God, I have like an hour lunch break. This is crazy. So that's how busy I've been. I haven't had time for anything or to think about anything. It's just been slammed. So I apologize for being missing. However, I wanted to talk about something that's sensitive in the trans community, and I think a lot of people have kind of semi seen it happening with me, and I'll indulge into it in a bit. Um, and also go into some philosophical things that I've, attached to this. So I have pretty much come out as like non-binary, and in a lot of ways, the past six months or so, I tell people I lean more non-binary. It feels more comfortable, and it's true. I definitely lean more non-binary. I go towards that more than I do like being a woman or being a man. Because there's really this like balance between the two where I can't seem to figure out which one I am anymore. And the reason why is not necessarily because I don't know how to explain it, but my gender dysphoria is alleviated quite a bit, and really that's the whole point of what we're doing as trans people is to stop at gender dysphoria, and we've just assumed that getting a lot of surgeries and getting things done and living your lifestyle a specific way is going to alleviate that gender dysphoria, that medical sort of side to it. And I want to clarify here, whatever people are doing in their life, they can by all means do whatever makes you happy and brings joy to you. So, and I'll get back to this in just a little bit. So the place that I was working before I owned my own salon now was a very toxic sort of environment, but it was filled with, all cisgender women, all very wealthy, all married, all with the lifestyles, but it's in medical aesthetics. So the building was all about Botox and fillers and, weight loss, and it's this obsession with a patriarchal sort of expectation of what a woman should look like, sort of thing. And so, and most people, regardless of their transgender or cisgender, are very attached to their gender identity. And it's this attachment that I believe is where things fall apart. So as a Buddhist, a lot of you know that I'm Tibetan Buddhist, and there was a quote that my mother had given to me recently about a form of impermanence, because in our universe there's nothing that's permanent. So when it comes to transitioning, there's really nothing you're going to transition into that's going to be permanent. And the reason I say this is because, so for example, I don't say that I've detransitioned. I don't say that. I say that I've retransitioned, because it's just viewing it completely differently. So about 2 years ago at my previous job, I was going to get breast implants, and I made a video about this a couple of years ago. And I went into a surgeon's office, and they're all friends with the people I work with and worked with, and they all, love the surgeon and stuff. And I was like, you sure she's going to be okay with, dealing with a transgender person doing breast implants and whatnot? And they're like, yeah, she's a surgeon. I don't know why it would be a problem. I'm like, okay. So I went in, and boy, was it an issue. They really were, they refused me at first. Then they found out where I worked, and they said, oh, well, we'll accept you. And I'm like, well, that's just fucking insane. And so then they assumed that it wasn't me when I walked in. They actually just, I sat in the waiting room for a while because they just assumed I was someone else. And so, evidently, because they thought, Billy Joe Bob was going to walk in and want a pair of tits. That's what they'd assumed. And so it was this very awful, awful session of consultation on breast implants. And all the women who were in there were all cisgender women, very rich, huge tits, big cheekbones, fat lips. They all looked bizarre because they'd had so much shit done to themselves, and they looked weird. And I was like, oh. And then the whole time they're like, you should get bigger, you should get bigger boobs. And they were so rude. They didn't even know that trans women had like hormone titties or anything. Like they didn't know about all of that. I'm like, how are you a surgeon and you don't know this information? Now, granted, I live in a redneck state. But the thing is, that moment when I left there, I got approved of for everything for free by my health insurance, and I turned it down. I was like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not gonna have someone work on me that doesn't even know like what a trans person is. Like that's not gonna fucking happen, because that's insane. And they treated me so weird, like I was some kind of like alien. So anyway, um, after that moment, my coworkers were always weird because they all knew this person, and I think they were all strange because they would have done it in a heartbeat. Free breast implants with the surgeon was like the best. She came from Harvard Medical, supposedly, and they're all friends with her. They're like, oh my God, you turned down free. And I was like, it's not about that. It's that I started to realize that it doesn't matter if I get big breast implants. It doesn't matter if I get prettier or thinner or tanner or a more feminine body or more feminine face. People are still assholes regardless. Like, it's not going to change how anyone looks at you. It's not going to change how anyone perceives you, and probably it'll make it way worse. So that was something that I had to really grapple with in that situation. And in that moment, I think I went down an interesting path where, I cut my hair short, and I started working out a bit more and getting more, and I was like trying to redefine my transition. And the pushback I got from my workplace was like bad. They didn't like how I looked, and evidently there was a lot of situations where customers felt uncomfortable because I didn't look like what they expected a transgender person to look like. When they expect a trans woman, because they want to be in control. Cisgender people who run this country still want to be in control of what we do with our bodies. So they look at me and they're like, if I was feminine, wearing sundresses and had long hair and wore my hair beautiful and, wavy and blown out and looked basic as shit and talked about basic ass stupid shit, they like that because they feel like I'm pretending to be them. It makes them feel comfortable because like you're still below them in a sense. But if you stop playing their game and you have confidence and actually start living your life, it makes them feel uncomfortable. And I had a lot of pushback from that. Like they didn't understand why. Fucking this cat, man. This cat. Of course, while I make a video, is going to be yelling around the house and doing zoomies. So anyway, so they definitely had a bit of pushback when I changed my style. Now, granted, some people even on here were weirded out that I changed my style. They're like, oh my goodness, you detransitioning? And I call it a retransition. I'm definitely got my testosterone back. I definitely view myself differently. I definitely don't fully view myself as a woman anymore because I don't really want to be viewed as a woman anymore. My dysphoria is kind of gone. And the reason why is because I worked with a bunch of cisgender rich women who had everything. Weight loss supplements, they could get hair restoration, they get laser hair removal, sunspot removal. They can get anything they want done to their bodies. And you know what's crazy? They were never happy with their body. Ever. They're all depressed about their bodies. They pretend that they're happy about it, but let me tell you, it is held together by a really, really fragile house of cards. And I started to look at them and I started to realize when it comes to being trans, there is a very, very close connection between cisgender women who have it all and everything that a trans woman wishes they had and a trans woman. They're very close to each other, and that's why I think I was hired and they loved me when I first started there, is because I reflected who they were. And then I stopped reflecting, and then they think something's wrong. Like, if someone doesn't want to be like that, they think something's wrong with them. Like, there's something actually medically wrong, and they like mental health sort of thing. And I'm like, no, I just realized that it never worked. It never satisfied my needs as a woman, as a trans woman. It never satisfied my needs in any way, shape, or form. It never satisfied my friendships with women. They were all just jealous, or they would get competitive. And then when you stop playing the game, then they think something's wrong with you. It's just the patriarchal insanity. So that's why I started re-looking at my transition in a totally different way. And especially now that I've opened up my own business, my own salon, it is a very bizarre sort of experience. The opening up my own salon, and now I'm my own boss, and it's going very well. I mean, my God, I feel slightly unhinged, and the hair that I'm doing is so much better. The environment is so much better. I'm so excited to be there. I'm running over on my clients because I enjoy being there with my clients and talking and doing their hair. And I don't feel like I'm at work. I feel like I'm super, comfortable in my space. That's huge. And then it's like unleashed. I'm like unleashed compared to where I was before. And, I feel that I was so trapped up and cooped up in the patriarchal hell of deeply insecure mean girls. There's mean women, mean asshole women who lie and backstab and do these, like, passive aggressive sort of things, and all they care about is being pretty and rich. That's all they care. Nothing else matters to them. In our current day and age, with Palestine and what the Nazi Israel people are doing and this government is doing, and the previous administration and the current administration, what they're doing to this world and what they're doing, I think my transition just stopped mattering to me. It just stopped mattering. And so I don't say it's a detransition, it's a retransition. I see myself completely different. And it's actually a lot of fun. And so I tell people, I'm like, as trans people, you suffer gender dysphoria. If you want to get all these things done, you want to do this stuff, that's wonderful. Go with whatever makes you happy and brings you joy. For me personally, I've been in this now, 2008? It's almost 20 years I've been transitioning. And I'm pulling not completely out of it, but quite far out of that stereotypical femininity, trans woman, like trying to be a certain way, I think I'm kind of letting that go. And so, not that it really matters to any of y'all or anything like that, but it's just one of those things where I feel like this perspective that I have is a very healthy one for people. And I think sometimes the word, like being permanent, like getting surgeries where we think this is permanently who I am, I'm permanently a woman, there is no Jacqueline. There was never anyone like, if I say I was detransitioning, it means I would have to detransition into someone that already existed. And it's impossible to go back into someone that once existed because there's no such thing. There was no permanent me that ever existed before I transitioned. It was an continuously changing being. And that just so happens to be what I'm still doing. It never stopped. It's like waves going out. And there's no regrets. There's nothing like that. I still take medication, just low enough, I think, to keep, at least keep my hair on my fucking head. But it's like, there's definitely that sort of lack of permanence. And as I age, I'm like, you know what? I really like not being attached to myself. I don't want to be attached to my body. I don't want to have my gender dysphoria be so debilitating that it causes me depression, or thinking that if I just get this more laser hair removal, if I just get my jawline filed down, or if I just get this done, maybe then I'll feel whole and everyone will just be like, wow, isn't she so cool and pretty and yada yada. They never will. They never, ever, ever will. They don't see you as a cisgender woman, and they never will. And so if it brings you joy, by all means. But for me, I've changed. I've changed. And I've learned so much from horrible people and deeply insecure cisgender women that I was like, I never want to be like them, because that path that I could have gone down, I would have just ended up like them. And I don't know, why would anyone want to be an insecure, like, person worried about your aging and worrying about being thin enough or being tan enough or having your hair thick enough or any of those things. I feel like it's just a sad path. I would rather go down a path of trying to counteract that, not by trying to change it, but by trying to let go of that suffering. There's a quote. I actually shared it on my community hub here on YouTube. I shared it, and the quote was it's a Tibetan Buddhist quote, but it was about why are we surprised when our knees give out? Why are we surprised when our friends that were once our friends for a long time don't want to be our friend anymore? Why are we surprised when someone hates us? Why are we surprised by any of these things? And it's because the causes and the conditions have been laid out for things to fail the moment that they're created. So they used a house as an example. So a house is built to fall down. And, it sounds crazy, but people know it's not. It's built to last. I'm sitting in a house right now. It's built to stand up. So you're on a foundation. You try your hardest. But really, you've already created the causes and the conditions for that house to come down. It's going to come down. This house is going to come down at some point. Every building, everything is going to come down. Jacqueline is going to die. I'm going to die. And I'm not going to be around anymore. And no one's going to remember me. I won't exist anymore as a human being or anything like that as Jacqueline. Now, I'm Buddhist, so of course I believe in rebirth and reincarnation, and I probably will be back trillions of times over and over and over until I get the shit right. And so being attached to a femininity, or being attached to a masculinity, or whatever it is, being attached to any of these things and thinking that that's who I am permanently. If Jacqueline just got a pussy, or if Jacqueline just got her face filed down, or if Jacqueline got longer, thicker hair, or if Jacqueline got thinner, then maybe Jacqueline will be complete. And it's insanity because there is no Jacqueline. There is no Jacqueline. It's not a thing. It's a delusion that we've created to a sense of control because we're afraid. We're afraid of change and we fear change. And most people rely on religious aspect. And that's why permanence, there's a permanent hell and a permanent heaven. And there's no such thing. That permanence is a delusion. There is no such thing that exists permanently. And so when it came to my transition and being surrounded by awful, mean, cisgender, insecure, mean girls that have no hearts or kindness or empathy of any kind, being surrounded by people like that was the most potent thing that I think a transgender woman could be around to make me realize that I don't care about those feminine qualities. I don't care about the patriarchy or any of those things. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so, yes, I went from identifying as male, to identifying as female, to identifying as transgender, to identifying as a non-binary individual. And who knows what's next? Who knows what's next? And so I just feel like making peace with things instead of trying to fight them and battle them is really one of the strongest steps you can take in your life. And especially in this horrible world we're living in right now with everything the way it is. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to talk about. And my old business, as horrible as they were to me, as mean and terrible as they were, they gave me one of the greatest lessons I could have ever learned. And it's really to just not be anything like them. And I feel a lot of empathy towards them because I'm like, I feel sorry for y'all. Like, you will never be thin enough. You will never be young enough because we're all rotting. You can't go back. You can't go backwards. There is no permanent someone existing somewhere. It's a delusion. So I look at them and I'm like, they're mentally deranged. The deranged people thinking they're in control of who they are and that they're going to be that way forever, for all eternity. I guess in heaven or hell or somewhere like that, that evidently is a permanent place where we exist. And I mean, and these people are some of the most awful, rude, backstabby sort of people. So what am I supposed to do? Go hang out for all eternity, for all eternity with people like that? I don't think so. It's insane. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Or go to a place that's miserable and so yeah, that's what's happening in my life right now. I didn't set this camera up. I didn't set it. It's raining outside and obviously I'm exhausted. I've just been working a lot and I'm tired, but I needed to make a video and get it out there and just express what's on my chest. But yeah, so maybe this helps some trans people, maybe alleviate some gender dysphoria and lift you up and say, hey, um, it's not even about thinking about things seriously. It's about not being attached to who you think you are. Like, you don't have to keep doing things just because you think you have to do them. And what's odd is you would think trans people would know that, because that's literally what begins our journey on accepting the fact that we're transgender, is letting go of the things of who you think you are. The problem is when you do it this way makes you think that you're in control. Of course, we were in control of our birth. I wasn't in control of my birth. I was just born. And there I was, with, being in the body I was born in. And then I thought I could change that. Like, oh, I'm in control now. Like, I can make these decisions. There's all these surgeries. There's all these things. I can do this. And sure, there's a lot of things you can do. But in the end of all things, I mean, we're just rotting corpses. I mean, we're just dressing up our little rotting corpse that's just walking around waiting to die. And we're probably going to be doing this trillions of times over and over because there's no such thing as permanence. So the idea that there's a permanent thing is insane. Anyway, I hope you guys get my message. It's a long ranted video about permanence, but it's the truth. I hope you guys are well. And yeah, I hope this video reaches you well, and all of you have a great day. And yeah, also fuck Israel and fuck the United States. All right, y'all have a good one. Bye.